YouTube.
Hello
Welcome to the
YouTube.
10-minute update. Right now we're live on Twitch, and you should obviously join the Twitch live streams that we have every 2 weeks. You can find it on our Twitch channel, Wooting Live, in the timeline or whatever schedule there is on Twitch. Every 2 weeks, join us. Lots of fun. You can get a lot more immediate replies, and we go deeper into the topics of the 10-minute update. All right, so today we have 3 things we're going to go through: Wooting 2HE, Wooting 60HE, and utility. So I'm going to start off with the Wooting 2HE. In short, it just comes down to you're obviously wondering, either you're oh my gosh, I have my keyboard, it's so awesome, I'm so happy it's finally here, it was worth the wait, or you're like, oh my gosh, where's my keyboard, I'm waiting for so long. So we just shipped batch 2 CUSA a week ago, or this week. I'm already lost in the timeline, but it was this week, I think, beginning of this week. Everything went out. Maybe there's a few, like a handful, that are still at the warehouse because of an address issue. If you haven't had a tracking number yet, it could be that the tracking number, it could be that it's still at the warehouse. If you did get, do reach out to me if there's maybe an address issue, and you can check with me on Discord, Calder Oats. If you received a tracking number, but that tracking number suddenly got canceled, don't worry, your order did not get canceled. It just got a new tracking number, a new shipping label. You can inquiry for that for that tracking number if you want to know what it is. Then for the old orders, starting with INT, which is for batch 2C Netherlands or NLD, your keyboard is still on a boat. I have on Discord stock updates channel the latest information where you can also track the vessel heading towards Rotterdam. We expect it to arrive around 8th December. It keeps changing a little bit here and there. When we have it, we're obviously going to ship it as soon as possible. And right now, I would put a safe estimate on the 15th of December for us to ship it out. Now, I hope it's in time for whatever occasion you were planning to use it, but we just can't guarantee that. If you're outside of the European Union, just don't have high hopes that it will still arrive within December, because international parcel traffic is also bananas right now and can be slow. So it's really a gamble. All right. Any other problems or something with Wooting 2HE, and when is your order going to arrive? You can always reach out to us, and we're always able to give you an update on your order information. And I'll give it to Erik for the 60HE.
So for the 60HE, we're still amazing and thrilled that the campaign ended 2 weeks ago. We didn't have a YouTube or 10-minute recap where we really talked about this, but together with 1,298 founders, we raised over 250,000 euros, which is more than we expected, and we are really happy with the result. And we're hard at work at realizing this product and making sure it gets on your desk so you can start playing around with it. We made some changes to the project when we launched the regular pre-orders. I think it was the 10th of November. Now there's instead of the total numbers, you see at what stage we're currently in, what we're working on. Currently working on the DVT, that's called the design validation test or trial. And here's where we sort of try to finalize the whole product and make sure it reaches our quality standard on the design wise and packaging and the keyboard and keycaps, all the nitty-gritty details. We should receive the first samples of the DVT next week or the week after. I think it's next week.
The end of next week.
The end of next week, yes. And then we get them, we will inspect them, and of course we'll write an elaborate blog or go into a video update where we talk about the details about the DVT. But it also means that these DVT samples are pretty close to final samples, and we think these are also, because we will have a few spare extras, it's a nice time to send them to a few YouTubers for a early hands-on review and see what they like about it. But we're also thinking maybe sending it to a pro gamer or a professional esport player or a top streamer to see how somebody handles this tool and if there are any flaws before we launch it globally and mass produce it. So if you know any YouTube channels that might be interested in it, be sure to let us know. And I think I froze. Did I froze?
Yes, you froze. I'm watching over delay, but looks like you froze.
Okay. Okay, can you take over? I'll try to fix my camera.
All right. So Erik just talked about the next step in the 6HE, and that we're looking for YouTubers or professional gamers that can give us feedback on the DVT samples that we have coming in. Well, the other thing that we're working on is that the Founders Edition and Signature Edition, they don't just get the keyboard, they also get a travel sleeve and a leather strap. And we are working on both of those projects, but the travel sleeve is the closest to final, and we have 2 more samples coming in of the travel sleeve, which we haven't showed at all really, other than a 2D picture. There's going to be a vegan leather travel sleeve. I'm just going to call it vegan, but it's PU leather.
It's vegan. I'm back, by the way.
Yes. So that we have a vegan travel sleeve coming in, which is pretty cool. And we have a hard case travel sleeve coming. I guess it's just a hard case for the 60%. We're going to compare them, show pictures, and I'll be writing an update and have a video update on this, where we're going to also ask you, like, what do you prefer, and then which one we're going for, and then we can make a decision, and then that is also finalized.
Yes.
The leather strap for the keyboard, though, we're still in a design phase. We haven't got into the sample phase. We're getting a little bit picky on what we want, and I am a little bit concerned, are we going to meet the timeline that we want for the strap? But I'm sure we're going to work it out, and that will be another update.
Yes.
I'll give it back to you, Erik, for...
Yeah, great. So a next important part is we sent an update last week to all the backers who got the Founders Edition or higher, who were eligible for the name on the box. Because we also want to finalize this part. What name do you want us to put on a box? And currently there's a decision where you can choose either your Discord handle, your first name or last name, or just anonymous. And you can use the order hub to tick or change your preference. I think you still have until this Monday. So probably for YouTube it doesn't matter, but people watching the live stream, if you still want to change the name, go to the order hub. You can get there through the 60HE project hub page, and on the top right there's a little link where you can log into the order hub, and you can still change your preference. And it also means for the people who ordered the signature edition, with most people I've had contact, they either submitted their idea or they gave me a nice design that I can straight put on a PCBA. If you have submitted a design, even if it's an idea, then it's fine and it's good. But there's still 8 people out there who haven't replied to my email at all. So I'm really encouraging, please reply to my email. Even if you have no idea what to put on it or whatever, just get in touch with me and really do it before Sunday, or else I'm just gonna freestyle something in your place.
We're gonna have some Wooting design stuff there.
Yes. And I think that's it for the 60G color.
All right, then we have the last part of the update, and it's not a short one, but I'll try to keep it short. It's about the utility. So the utility, there's 2 groups now, right? We have utility V3 and we have utility V4. If you're using a Lecker switch, you're using V4. If you're using anything before a Lecker switch keyboard, you're using V3. Now, we never intended to have these split up. We want the utility to be one version, but we need to implement some backwards compatibility before that happens in the V4 version. Now, backwards compatibility is on its way. It's almost done, actually, but it's going to be part of not this update, but the update afterwards. This update is something we've been working on weeks, but got delayed because we had the whole 60HE launch, and now we want to make sure the update has a bit more integrity, and we've been adding more and more to the update itself, but we've limited the scope to the following. DKS. So DKS has improved behavior in this new update, where it has more consistency and it follows the behavior that you are expecting to get. And a good example of that is when you want to do Fox or pseudo analog on the WASD key, meaning you want to do normal walking with W, and then when you reach the end of the key, do Shift plus W for sprinting. but you would also apply that to A and D and S, so that in all directions you can get that same effect. But when you use, when you're holding down W and then you start pressing D, it would detect you pressing another time shift, and it would, in the current state, it would deactivate shift, so it would make you stop sprinting. In the new version, it would just join, it would bundle the key together as still on state, so it would get the behavior expected, which is just keep on sprinting. So in other words, the modifier keys don't get deactivated by another modifier key of on a different button, same modifier key, different button activating. Well, I hope you followed that. There's other things that we also did about DKS is we added gamepad buttons to DKS. I think there's even mouse buttons added, but I'm not sure if that's in the final as well right now.
Well, I saw it in Simon's version, so it must be true, right?
Yeah, well, the plan was, but we didn't discuss it with the overview. But it should be in there, mouse buttons. There's no analog mouse axis movement yet. We did look into it. It is possible, but there's kind of like some smoothing issue. So we're not adding that for now, but we are working on this kind of thing. We had something really cool also for DKS, and I guess I need to explain this, but we noticed that if in DKS you have like a single fire key, not all games would pick up on the output. And that would also cause a moment of, I'm trying to do this thing, but it's not behaving what I expect it to behave. And we found out that has to do with the tick rate of the game input. So meaning how often does the game refresh its input? And if it's on a certain tick rate, it sometimes doesn't pick up on single fired keys, depending on the timing of the key. So we also added an advanced feature there where you can change the tick rate at which it refreshes it. I think it just slows down the fire or something like that. I forgot the exact detail, but there is like different tick rates you can choose from, so you can synchronize that with the game. One of the games that was really troublesome specifically was Minecraft, and to find out what it is that you need for a game is kind of like a trial and error. So that might be interesting also for the DKS people. Next is Rapid Trigger. Rapid Trigger, we got loads of feedback on Rapid Trigger. We have a few things that we really know we should make better about Rapid Trigger. There's two things high on our list, which is deactivating Rapid Trigger on a per key basis, and also being able to change the sensitivity for the activation and sensitivity for deactivation. But these are two things that we were not planning to do just yet and needs a little bit more time for UI UX. So we added something else first, which is being able to synchronize Rapid Trigger with your activation point. What does it mean to synchronize Rapid Trigger with your activation point? It means that Rapid Trigger both activates and Rapid Trigger resets at the activation point. So as in current state of Rapid Trigger, you surpass the activation point, the key changes into Rapid Trigger state. And the Rapid Trigger state is over the whole key range. You can activate and deactivate the key wherever you want, regardless of your activation point. And only once you release the whole key, it will reset, and then it will you can press the key again, and then once you surpass the activation point, it will activate again. That was not ideal for every game. That was the feedback, at least from some end users playing specific games. It was not an ideal situation to have Rapid Trigger behaving that way. So we will add a option to synchronize the activation point with Rapid Trigger, and then Rapid Trigger will activate once you surpass the activation point, and then anywhere after the activation point you can repeat the key really fast, but once you return back past the activation point, the key will deactivate. And so Rapid Trigger also deactivates. So in that way you could virtually limit Rapid Trigger to a certain range of areas the key can activate. Hope that made sense. Right? Advanced feature, and it will be in this update. Then we did some improvements to analog input. We have the analog curve, the option to change between a square and a circle vector. You basically always want to work with a circle vector, but there are some games which have bad joystick input handling, such as Rocket League, which uses a square vector for input handling, which is not ideal at all. But then since a joystick is a circular input thing, a circular vector, but in either case, now for Rocket League specifically, and other games you might find having a similar issue, you can change to a square vector, which would make the experience in the game a lot smoother and more precise than what you'd had before.
Yeah, it's pretty
Then
technical. I think you need a graphic to actually explain it properly, but
yeah, definitely. So I'm assuming most people will not understand what I just explained, but then for the people that are playing Rocket League, hopefully you do understand that
bottom line,
once it
if you
comes
play
out,
Rocket League, it will be a major improvement. That's
yeah, change the square vector if you play Rocket League. All right. Then we have a very interesting new feature that is not optional. We call Snappy Joystick. And basically changes the behavior of a joystick on the keyboard. In the current state, if you have joystick mapped on WASD, for example, and you press the A button versus, if you have left joystick mapped over the WASD buttons, a joystick on an Xbox controller only has two axes, which is a Y axis and an X axis. Now, if you take A and D, which is on the X axis, it would be, for example, I press A, it gets all the way up to plus 100 to make it simple, and I press towards D, it goes all the way to minus 100. All right, and the further down I press A or D, it starts to count. More A is plus up to the 100, and more D is plus minus up to 100. If you would press them both at the same time, it would kind of add and subtract that number from each other, which would result in some funky behavior with moving towards left and right while pressing them at the same time. The nice thing is that when you're moving towards the left, for example, and now you start also pressing D, you can kind of like correct the angle you're walking at. But it's not how you use a keyboard. And that was a big thing. So we decided we're going to change that behavior. And now it's the key you have pressed the furthest, so which one has the highest value will prevail in input. So now you have a lot more instant or much more responsive input when you start using left joystick on WASD. So the game I hate to do this, but I am going to use Fortnite in this example. If you're playing Fortnite. if you're playing Fortnite in this example, moving to left and to the right will become very snappy, and that's why we call it Snappy Joystick. When you press left, the left key, it instantly goes to the left. When you press the right key, it instantly goes to the right, and there's no delay in between, so you get a much faster response, and it's much more natural to the behavior and easier to control the whole joystick in general. That's going to be the new default. Hopefully for the people that use it will notice that it feels a lot better. Okay. Then the last thing is we're going to fix a pretty annoying bug for everybody that's been using HID Gamepad or the direct input or traditional joystick or whatever we call it, legacy Gamepad, I think we call it. We will add unique IDs to every gamepad interface that we have, so that whenever you turn off the gamepads, like completely off, and then turn it on again, it will not create this issue where you have multiple registry keys and multiple gamepads and it can't really find the right one. That was a very annoying bug for some people, which will be fixed in this update. Okay. Right. Then the last part is just in general, we've been able to spend a lot more time on discussing about the utility and the roadmap and what we want to do next, which is great. And we'll be getting into that another I think I'm just going to keep that to this for the 10-minute update. So then thank you everybody for joining the 10-minute update on YouTube. Join the live streams that are every 2 weeks. Find us on Twitch, Wooting Live. There's a schedule underneath the channel where you can find the next time that we're live again.
Definitely.
So we just say goodbye then, Eric?
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, YouTube.
YouTube.